What's up, everybody? Welcome to this conversation about Harley Quinn. Of course, this is Franklyn McInnis, and if you follow the channel, then you know that I am a big fan of this character, Harley Quinn, and I have another big fan here with me for this recording. And make sure you say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's RJ here, and thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, and if you guys are not familiar with Robert, do make sure that you check out his channel. I will make sure that I link it in the description on this particular video. So yeah, we're both big fans of Harley Quinn. We actually wanted to do this for a while now to discuss the character. We actually did try it previously and had some technical issues. I'm sure you remember that well, Robert.
Yeah, that was my bad, guys.
But it's all good though, because of course we did that before Birds of Prey even came out, and now that we've seen that movie, we can address that. But the first thing we want to do here, though, is, of course, because we're also both Funko Pop collectors, we want to talk about our top 5 favorite Funko Pops of Harley Quinn. And Robert, I'm going to actually let you start things off with that.
Okay, so this is a huge disclaimer. I'm assuming this is for Franklyn too. We like basically every single version of this Funko of her character in Funko Pop form. We're just picking our top 5 here, and it's a pretty difficult list because she just has so many good costumes, so many good representations. But I'm going to start off with my number 5. I actually think I'm going to go with the DC Bombshells, the black, white, and red variant. I think it's Think Geek is the exclusive.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of DC Bombshells. I actually have a huge collection with what's the company, Cryptozoic, and Harley Quinn is one of my pieces in there, of course. But I do love the World War II era aesthetic that the entire Bombshell line has. I collect the entire Bombshell Funko line, the mystery minis. I actually have a case coming in for that. I have all the dwarves except for the one that they haven't released yet. And of course, every Funko Pop excluding the Joker with Kisses Chase. And I just think that the black and white variant is the coolest out of the 3 that they have. So that's my number 5. For number 4, I'm going with the Arkham Knight Harley Quinn. I think this one has the most. I like the costume on this one the best. I played this game release date. I actually played the Arkham series games backwards. Started with Arkham Knight, worked my way through City and Origins and Asylum because Arkham Knight was the newest one. And I am a big fan of this costume. Tara Strong did a fantastic job voicing Harley in this, which is really fantastic to me. And the costume looks good. I actually have a statue piece of her with a Mezco pre-ordered as well, just because this costume is that good, in my opinion. For number 3, I am going with the Harley Quinn, the Christmas variant that just came out to Hot Topic, I believe, last year? I think out of all the Harley Quinn pops, this one has the best sculpt with it. It's very dynamic in the sense that it's not a standard feet spread apart, hands to the side. It's her, I believe it's with the bag that ends up having bombs inside of it. It's based off of Amanda Conner artwork, which she's the reason why I fell in love with Harley Quinn and the comic variants of her, because Amanda Conner did such a fantastic job. And I do think this comes from, I believe, a variant of a cover. I can't remember which one, but Amanda Conner is the reason why I love Harley. So it's a really good pop. I think it's just the best sculpt out of all of them. For number 2, I'm going to go with the Diamond exclusive Hot Topic Batman the Animated Series Harley Quinn. This is where Harley originated from, and I think when Funko was doing the Diamond collection, this is where they got the pops correct. I was absolutely dreading them making a variant of Harley Quinn in this Diamond because they could not do black glitter correctly. Every time it looked like dandruff for Snow White, for example.
Yeah.
So the black on this Harley was the first time that I think they hit the nail on the head, basically. And of course, this is the original Harley Quinn. This is the reason why we love her. Batman the Animated Series, without that, we wouldn't have Harley. And it would be a big letdown because so much has come out because of this series. And I don't know. It's such a landmark series altogether. For my number one pop, though, it has to be the Suicide Squad, her normal Daddy's Little Monster variant. I will go with the FYE exclusive 2-pack with her and the Joker because it's metallic, so it's a bit cooler. Back in 2016, that's when I started to become financially independent because I had my own job. And 2016 is when I started getting into Funko Pop collecting because I went off to college, wanted to get some Harley Quinn pieces. Suicide Squad was coming out that year. I saw it 4 times in theaters, brought some of my Rutgers friends there, and I'm like, I need a Harley Quinn piece for my collection. And the common variant, the non-metallic Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, was the first Funko Pop I ever bought, and it's just going to hold that much nostalgia value for me. So I believe that the metallic one, which is cooler, is my number one Harley Quinn Funko Pop.
Yeah, nostalgia, I mean, with collecting in general definitely plays into it. It definitely plays into my number one, favorite Harley Quinn Funko Pop. But I'm going to start, down, of course, at my number 5, which is kind of surprised me as I was looking back through all the figures. But this one just really stands out to me now. It's the one that is based off of Jim Lee's artwork, I believe, the GameStop exclusive, where she has the Suicide Squad type hair with the pink and blue, but she has the sledgehammer held across her shoulders, and she just looks tough. I just like that. That's what I really like about that figure. She just looks really tough, and it's a good representation of the character, especially being kind of far removed from the way that she was initially, revealed to us and everything. She was somewhat meek. I mean, she could be wild, of course, and she could be violent, but still she was kind of meek up under the Joker, you know what I'm saying? But I think this figure does represent her being very strong and independent. So that's what I like about it. And then I definitely agree with you as far as the holiday Harley Quinn. I had to put that on my list, but I got that at my number 4. I mean, it just really jumps out at you, and I do like the pose as well, and the nice little details, the bomb wrapped up and everything, and even the sledgehammer being wrapped up. It's one of those figures, like when I saw it online, I was impressed by it, and then of course, seeing it up close, even more impressed by it. So that was a must buy for me, and I really do like that figure. Number 3, this is one that would not have been on my list at all a while back, but it's really grown on me a whole lot. The new 52 Harley Quinn, which I think the main reason I like it is because it kind of gives off that superhero vibe, because she does have the cape on. And if you really know about the character, you know that she does have some hero worship. Like, she's a big fan of Wonder Woman, and she's kind of on the low a fan of Batman as well. That's been more obvious that's been more obvious with some interpretations of the character, especially, the Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie and that. But she does have some hero worship, so that's what I like about it. It represents that side of her. At number 2, I mean, I know it's plain Jane, but yeah, it's just the original Harley Quinn, the classic red and black. Again, that's her beginnings, like you said, the diamond variant. I'm still, even though they have gotten better with the diamond variants, and I think that the Skullback's Harley Quinn is really awesome with the the glitter on it. But yeah, I just like the common one. It's simple, it's classic Harley Quinn, it's cool with me. And then my number 1, it is somewhat based off of nostalgia, and it's really the same exact mold, pretty much for the most part, but it has a different paint job. It's the pink and white Harley Quinn. And what I really like about that one is it's such a cool pop that I actually had a friend help me hunt that one down, and she fell in love with it. She ended up wanting one of those too. And I think it's just a really cool looking pop. I also like that they replaced the diamonds with the hearts, at least on the diamond one, and they eventually did a glitter one, a diamond one, and they changed it. They changed the hearts to just the diamonds, and I was a little disappointed by that.
That was upsetting for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if it would have been with the hearts, it would have been perfect. Then that diamond version would have been my number 1. But I'm just gonna have to go with the the non-glitter variant pink and white Harley Quinn, because yeah, it's such a cool pop that, like I said, it even got my friend into collecting pops a little bit. She did just get a few. She didn't get sucked into collecting completely, but I thought that was pretty cool, and that gave me some nostalgia with it. So yeah, those are our lists. We definitely want to hear from you all. You could drop it into the comments. What are your favorite Harley Quinn pops, and what else would you like to see with the character from Funko? I noticed that neither one of us had any of the Birds of Prey pops on our list, correct?
Correct about that.
Now they actually did some good figures, but nah, they couldn't crack the top 5 for me personally. And
No.
honestly, in some of my videos, you'll see in the background that I have my signed photograph of Tara Strong, and actually behind that is my Birds of Prey figures. So they're actually kind of blocked, and I don't mind because I was not the biggest fan of that movie. I want you to share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the movie overall, because I don't think we really have talked in great detail about it.
So, as we said before, we had a discussion about this movie before the movie happened. We started talking about the trailers, what we're expecting, and we talked about it. We're like, the trailer gave a bit too much away.
True.
And of course, certain things like, oh yeah, you killed his best friend. Boom, Victor Zsasz was killed, and all of a sudden now that's revealed inside the trailer. Oh
Yeah.
my god, the movie frustrates me, and it's specifically because they have so many good parts of it, and then they completely destroy a bunch of characters from the comics and how I view them. So, of course, we're going to get into spoilers with this, guys. So if you haven't watched the movie...
Yeah, the movie's been out long enough now.
Yeah, so I figured it'd be okay. I absolutely love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in this movie. I think she did a fantastic job. I think Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job. I can't remember the actress who did Black Canary. I think out of all of them, I think she did the best.
And that was I don't want to tear up her first name. Stuff to say Smollett Bell is the last name, so I'm not sure exactly how to say the first. But yeah, we all know who you're talking about, though. Yeah. What did you think about Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
I think if the writers had focused in on that character and honed it down to what the character is supposed to be, she would have been fantastic. I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead as an actress. She did good in Scott Pilgrim. You had her in Final Destination 3, I believe it is.
She was in 10 Cloverfield Lane. She was great in that.
Yeah, that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
She is a great actress. The problem with Huntress in this movie is they don't know what they want her to be.
Exactly.
Oh, let's have her be a raging female who has anger issues. Or let's have her have zero emotion whatsoever.
Or let's give her one joke to play over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It clashes so hard. Each of the personality traits that they were trying to put into her, it just clashes. If you just focus in on one thing, I would focus into the I don't think I would focus into the anger issues part, because I think her playing it off stern and without emotion would have been funnier. They could have had her be the straight man to Harley Quinn, where Black Canary is just a normal person, Harley Quinn's zany, and then Huntress is completely emotionless, and Canary's kind of like the center character. Oh God, there's so much to talk about with this movie. Let's talk about this. The fact that it was called Birds of Prey in the beginning, because it's now
even with and it had that and it had that long ridiculous title. I get what they were going for. They were trying to be kind of zany or whatever about it, but I do feel like, okay, Margot Robbie, she did, have some play with how this movie turned out, because she actually talked to the studio about it. Originally, they were going to jump right into Gotham Sirens, and that was even like, out there in the news and everything, that they were going to do a Gotham Sirens movie. And then she felt like it was too soon to jump into that, which I agree. I think if you're going to bring in Catwoman and Poison Ivy, really those characters should be set up a little bit more. I don't feel like it's quite time for them yet, and still the DCEU is trying to find its footing. So yeah, take their time with bringing in those characters, because they are major characters. So I understand going with the Birds of Prey, these lesser known characters, but the movie from the beginning to me didn't have much direction, because we pretty much got cheated out of the love story of Harley Quinn and Joker. We never really got to fully see that relationship in live action, because Joker's trying to rescue her in Suicide Squad, and then they get together, and then beginning of Birds of Prey, they've broken up. So one of the big things about her character is just not there, which is really disappointing. And I mean, they tried their best to work it out. I know things didn't quite go the way that they wanted to with Jared Leto. Regardless what people say about him and how they feel about his performance, it just didn't quite work out in the long run. So I mean, I think we can agree that Margot Robbie is amazing as Harley Quinn, but
Yes.
but she needs the right stories, though. That's what it comes down to. Because Suicide Squad, I don't feel like that there was a great story there. And the writer director was up under ridiculous time constraints. They did not give him much time at all to put a story together and to put a movie together. And then
David Ayer was screwed
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, he was. And then with Birds of Prey, there was a lot of confusion leading into it as well. So I feel like the DCEU in general needs to step back and figure out what in the world they want to do. Otherwise, we're going to keep getting movies like this that feel like missed opportunities.
The thing is, unfortunately, now it's now or never. Now is better than later, but they should have had this stuff set up years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
The whole DCEU is wonky and nuts. I actually watched Man of Steel for the first time, and I was like, "What the hell?" I apologize. This isn't Superman. This guy doesn't save people. I think he saves all of like maybe 6 people, but I can see that's being Zack Snyder's viewpoint. That was maybe a standalone movie, and then they're like, okay, cool, Marvel's doing this. Let's do Batman versus Superman, even though Batman versus Superman should not be the second movie in your DC universe. You're at all.
Yeah, that is the big issue, that they want to be like Marvel and they're just not willing to take the time to really set things up. They're kind of doing that now, but it's almost like they have no choice but to kind of take a step back and do that somewhat. Because I mean, of course, the Wonder Woman movie was great, Aquaman was great. Imagine if they had started out that way and they were still building up to the Justice League. People would look at them totally differently right now. But it's been a lot of confusion, and they actually had like a full slate planned out, and then they scrapped it. And then they had another full slate planned out, and they scrapped it again. And it's like, I don't know if it's because there's a change in leadership over at Warner Brothers or what, but yeah, they need to look at the most important thing about the MCU is that it's mainly one man's vision. They got way too many cooks in the kitchen, I think, over there at Warner Brothers. If you get one individual to lay things out, to give that roadmap, then I think that makes a world of difference.
Give it to Jeff Johns. Simple. Just give it to Jeff Johns. He knows what he's doing. He's made Green Lanterns fantastic. He did Batman fantastic. And was he 52 or was he Rebirth? I can't remember. But give it to Jeff Johns. Let him run the story. And then you can have directors work for him and have different directors, just how they do it in Marvel. And I understand they're like, we're DC. We don't want to be Marvel. You're trying to be Marvel, so if you're going to try to be Marvel, do it correctly.
Yeah, because now with Birds of Prey, it's like, where do they go from there? Like, I know that of course there's going to be the Suicide Squad, which is somewhat of a soft reboot of Suicide Squad. We still got Harley Quinn, but I mean, Margot Robbie is already great as Harley Quinn. Nothing really new has come out of Birds of Prey in regards to that. Are they really going to come back to Huntress? I kind of doubt it. Black Canary, I kind of doubt it. Even Renee Montoya, I mean, I just don't know. They might get cameos in other movies. I don't see anything major being done with those characters because I just don't feel like they were written well enough to really connect with audience. Like, I don't think anybody's clamoring to see them again necessarily, or at least not enough people are clamoring to see them again. They just weren't established enough. We've talked about this before previously, kind of behind the scenes, that we don't like them being so willing to kill villains.
No.
And the way that Black Mask went out was just absurd. What I thought was going to happen was, it seems like they were kind of hinting at him having this obsession with Mask. I don't think they fully embraced that, but I was expecting him to like put the mask on and to possibly like at the end of the movie maybe get damaged in a way, like burned or something, to where he can't take the mask off or something like that, and then maybe we would see him again at some point in like another film. Yeah, but Yeah, and the way they did him though, it's just like you kind of set him up somewhat interesting because I like how over the top Ewan McGregor
Ooh,
was with the
he was
character.
so into that role.
Yeah,
He chewed every scene up, and he was fantastic. He was
yeah, and having
fantastic.
Zaz right there with him, like they really played well off of each other, but it's just they wasted him. So that when it comes down to it.
And it's so unfortunate because Zaz is a dangerous villain. Black Mask is a very, very dangerous, sadistic man, and which is why we actually see him as a Red Hood villain. I actually think a DLC for Arkham Knight.
Yeah,
You were the Arkham Knight, and you had to fight off Black Mask. In the Under the Red Hood movie, Black Mask
love
was
that.
also there.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I like him in that too. He's very over the top in that as well. He's basically like a Scarface ripoff, but
Yeah,
I like how just unhinged he is in that movie as well. So
and
yeah,
they wasted it. They
yeah,
wasted him. It
and
would
it's
have been
like even with
fun.
the black mask, he put it on just so they could say he put the mask on. Basically, like they
Oh
didn't
yeah,
really set that up, which was
I'm waiting.
unfortunate.
I'm waiting for the Funko Pop Comic Con exclusive. Hey, remember this? Where they were inside this outfit, both the Birds of Prey and Black Mask, where they Birds of Prey had their actual costumes and Black Mask had a mask on. Here's your convention exclusives because they were only there for a second.
Yeah, and they just barely showed the Birds of Prey at the end and their actual more comic book style costumes. Like we barely
All of
saw that.
all of like 5 seconds, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, and I mean the way they left the movie off is like they made it even seem like they're done with the Birds of Prey and Harley's just off on another adventure. So it's almost like, well, what was the point of that? Like a movie is not all that it can be when the main thing that people talk about is an egg sandwich.
Yeah.
Like that was the best scene. That was literally the best scene in the movie, the egg sandwich being made and her lusting over it.
I will disagree there. I think the best scene for me was the prison fight scene, the police station fight scene.
Well, to me, that scene started off amazing, but then I said this from the beginning when I was seeing the trailers. I was like, this does not look like a big screen movie to me. Even when that first teaser they did, which was like a wardrobe fitting,
Yeah.
I was
Ooh.
like, this, yeah, that was rough. And that's my issue with it too, because I did like the visuals, like with the pink and blue smoke and all of that.
That
It
was
looked really
beautiful.
cool. But then it just kept going, and then when they get to the scene in the back of the police station or whatever, it looked like a cable movie. Like
Yeah.
it didn't look like a big screen movie. That was my issue with that.
We can go. I can say, yeah, the first two portions where she's fighting the police officers, then inside the prison cages, I think those were fantastic with the rain and the water. They had a lot of fantastic kicks in this movie.
Yeah.
And I will have to give them credit for throwing in the director for the action scenes in John Wick. They had him, the director for that, help out with the action scenes for this movie, which is why certain ones look fantastic.
Yeah. They could have pushed it even more though, for sure.
Yeah. But if we're going to talk about the action scenes, we have to put out the stinker. I think that funhouse scene was atrocious.
Well, the issue with it is it felt like it was starting to get some energy and then boom, it's done. And it's like, okay, you're calling this movie Birds of Prey. Were they really the Birds of Prey though? I don't think so. It's like
Absolutely not.
they were forced to come together at the end, but they weren't really a team. They were just women, stuck in a desperate situation, which they fought their way out of. And then you see the other women together without Harley Quinn at the end, like they've become a team and they're all fighting or whatever. But it didn't really feel like a true Birds of Prey movie. It felt like a teaser for Birds of Prey, maybe.
Yeah, and I've heard that it might be a good idea to throw the Birds of Prey into a TV series on HBO Max or the DC streaming universe, which would be cool. But I don't think Mary Elizabeth Winstead's going to do that.
I don't think so either. It's like she's, she can star in movies. I just don't see that happening either. And I don't think they'd want to pony up enough money to make that worth it for her.
No.
Yeah, so that's just it's really unlikely. And the actress that played Black Canary as well, like I think she's on the rise. I don't think
She's
she would
definitely
want to
on
do
the
that.
rise.
Yeah, and I know some people had issues too with her her powers were teased a little bit, and then she used them once, which they gave that away in the trailer as well. So that was not handled well. I can agree with that. I know that's one of the critiques of the movie, and I do agree with that her powers were not necessarily handled well.
All right, and if we're gonna go into the biggest negative of this movie, I think Renee Montoya and Cassandra Cain. I think that's the worst thing in this movie.
It just made the movie kind of drag to me. Both of their characters, when they were the focus of scenes, I felt like, okay, let's move it along here. It just and Renee Montoya scenes felt so repetitive, and I really like Rosie Perez, but I felt like her going back and forth, with the other people at the police station, it wasn't interesting at all. Cassandra Cain, that same thing. Like her scenes, they just weren't really interesting to me. They weren't particularly funny either. I did not laugh nearly as much as I was hoping to with this movie.
I think the biggest laugh from that movie was when Harley Quinn was blowing up the Ace Chemicals, and she said, "Oh, some people's dates are here or they're at the Olive Garden." That was the funniest thing for me, because me and my friends, when we went to watch this premiere night, we literally just came from Olive Garden. That's the only reason why that was the biggest laugh for us.
The only thing that made me laugh was when that really made me laugh out loud was when she was in the fun house and she had been paralyzed some, and then Victor Zsasz was like, knocked out next to her, and she was like stabbing him.
Yeah, that was, I think maybe that was probably the best joke in there.
And that's in the third act. That shows how the writing wasn't good enough. That's in the third act that you finally get a big laugh like that.
Yeah, God. And it's, like I said, it's unfortunate because this was a movie I was really looking forward to. I think I got all the pops basically within the first 2 weeks. Once I know that payday hit, I definitely got everything. I got all the mystery minis, all of the Funko pens. I was really excited for this movie. This was something I was looking forward to. The second trailer had me pumped up more than the first trailer, where in both trailers, I still think that the voiceover that Margot Robbie was doing, it sounded phoned in, and that's what gave me my biggest scare. And this movie has potential. If you got rid of Renee Montoya, if you got rid of Cassandra Cain, I don't know.
Give Huntress more time.
If you're going to focus in on Birds of Prey, make it a Birds of Prey movie. I know they have to throw Harley Quinn in there to sell the movie, but it hurts because it's just like, okay, who's the Birds of Prey? You got Huntress, Black Canary, and then it's either Batgirl or Oracle. We replace Batgirl and Oracle with Renee Montoya. Not just, how she is in the comic books, where she can become the Question, or she's one of the most respected police officers there, most respected detective there, where her character is actually important. And we throw her in with somebody that is a laughingstock at the station, at the GCPD, that nobody respects her.
And she wasn't utilized properly, and I don't think she really should have been considered like one of the members of the Birds of Prey. I think it would have been better if she was just exactly. It would have been better if she was just a supporting character that maybe helped out some way in the end, but I agree. Even the lineup didn't make a whole lot of sense there. So it's unfortunate, we are big Harley Quinn fans, but there's been this disappointment recently because we definitely need to go ahead and address the animated series, which I think initially we both were kind of hyped for it, being fans of the character.
I was pumped, and then I saw a couple of teasers where it seemed to me that the show was just edgy to be edgy.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. The promotions for it didn't work for me. And I'm assuming the same for you, right? Once you saw the actual
I got the impression that they were going to do what I hate what some people do with this character. Some writers of the comics are guilty of this as well. She is Harley Quinn. She is not DC's Deadpool. And that's what some people keep trying to do with this character. They keep trying to make her another Deadpool. And that
Yeah.
was totally the vibe I got, because even within those teasers, she's breaking the fourth wall, she's dropping F-bombs and everything. I'm like, they're trying so hard to be like Deadpool.
Can we pause for 1 second and go back to Birds of Prey? Because now you brought up that point. The F-bombs. Birds of Prey. How are we going to do more DC movies featuring Harley Quinn if we put her back into PG-13?
Yeah,
How does Suicide Squad make sense when we're the bad guys? It's what we do. They would be cussing up a storm in the original Suicide Squad movie, and then we bring her up to R rating. We can't bring her back down now. That's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes they made.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. MCU is gonna have that issue as well, because I don't think Disney wants another rated R Deadpool. I hate it for them over there. That's gonna be a challenge. But I agree. Yeah, once you've gone into rated R, going back to PG-13 is a little odd. It's just like where Logan left off with Wolverine, like done. Unless he's recast, yeah, you can't drop back down after that. So. Well, he passed away anyway, of course, but you get what I'm saying. Even the franchise, and actually it did happen where you had Logan and then you have Dark Phoenix, and it just tonally it felt all wrong, So yeah, Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad. I mean, it's called the Suicide Squad. It obviously needs to be rated R. I don't know what execs are thinking when they hear Suicide Squad in title, and then they think, okay, let's try to make this PG-13. It's like, come on. If anything, I think that actually hurt ticket sales in the long run, because rated R movies obviously can do big numbers. I mean, look at what Joker did.
That's a really
we won't get into that. Yeah. But we won't get into our thoughts on that movie. But I'm just saying, a rated R movie that really embraces the rating can do really big numbers. Zack Snyder should know that as well, with the success that he's had. With 300, Watchmen, 300, Dawn of the Dead, all of those, But this trying to keep it PG-13, I think it does hurt the movies in the long run. It works for some of them, like Aquaman, just fine. That makes sense. Shazam, just fine. It makes sense. It really depends on the character. That's why I think I really feel like DC, they should have kind of their darker side where they can go to the rated R, and then have their sort of PG-13 side. It doesn't have to all necessarily cross over.
I think you can keep Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Superman, Cyborg possibly on that side, Flash, of course. Yeah. I think Batman in R-rated movies would do fantastic.
Yes, because he deals with, like, his rogues gallery is really scummy. Like, they really are. And he's got some really dark characters, like even Zaz. I mean, Zaz technically has been in more than one live action movie, but he's a very dark character. So those types of things, they should be rated R for sure. Yeah. But with the animated series trying way too hard to be edgy.
I thought that at first. So my goal was I was going to wait for season 1 to be completely finished on the DC streaming universe, do my free trial, or actually just sign up for it there, so that way I can watch it all in one go, because they're doing week by week. As soon as season 1 ends, I'm like, okay, I'm about to do it. Season 2 starts premiering. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll wait. The actual final episode for season 2, I think, is either released today that we're recording this, or maybe yesterday. I was at the beach yesterday, so I'm not sure. Just 2 weeks ago, I went and worked on a mask because I have something coming up on my channel and I needed to build a prop. So I went over to somebody's house who knows how to do this. They had the DC streaming service. So he's like, hey, have you seen Harley Quinn yet? I said, no. We put it on, and I think we watched up to 6 episodes before I had to go home. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty funny. I quite enjoy it. How do I explain it? it seems really just edgy to be edgy at first, but that's just the way that the marketing was. It's pretty good. I love the character of Poison Ivy in there, and the characters are kind of just silly. They play off of the whole we're super villains. I'm a shark. I'm a man shark hybrid. I'm Clayface. He's an actor. They play into that. They're just really silly and wonky characters, and it works very well. You have Kite Man in there as a supporting character, Poison Ivy's love interest. I will say, once the second season has ended, because right now I watch all the clips on YouTube because, like I said, I don't have the streaming service currently. Right now, I don't want to get into spoilers, but they're playing into the Harley Quinn Ivy relationship, and it's affecting the proposal and the wedding that's supposed to be happening between Ivy and Kite Man. It's really interesting, and I do, for you, Franklin, and for everybody watching, I would recommend watching it. Just watching maybe the first 6 or 7 episodes. Once the team all gets together, because the team doesn't get all together until I think episode 3 or 4, because King Shark's the last person to be added to the team. It's worth the watch.
I may try to come back to it eventually. I need to see if I'm actually able to watch it right now, because I do have. Well, I don't know. It's weird right now because I know that HBO and DC have been kind of working things out together, but it's really weird with their programming. So right now, I think it's still just on the DC universe, But if it crosses over to HBO, then maybe I can check it out. I'm not going to get the DC universe just for that, But where they lost me is the way they did handle some of the characters in the early episodes. Like when I got to, because I just watched what I could on YouTube, and I know that it wasn't necessarily full episodes. They were kind of chopped up, but I got to the one with the penguin and the whole bar mitzvah thing, and I was like, okay, why did they turn Penguin into like this Jewish stereotype? That felt just very cringy to me, and wasn't really feeling the way they were handling Bane either, So yeah, it just really
Bane becomes one of the best, the funniest characters. Bane gets really good.
Well, like I said, I may try to go back to it, but dude, I'm telling you, if I go back to it and I still am not liking it, you owe me some time somehow.
All right, we'll figure it out. We'll work something out.
I definitely want to hear from people that are checking this out, and I would assume that they're big Harley Quinn fans as well, what they think about the animated series, because it just didn't give that great first impression to me personally.
It's looking like season 2 is better than season 1 for sure, because with the whole, I think like the first 6 or 7 episodes is, hey, we're getting the crew together kind of thing, and there's 13 episodes, so half of your season's building that up. Then the second half, I think, if I'm not mistaken, deals with some very, very, not prominent DC villains. You have the Queen of Fables. Have you heard of her before?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a DC villain, and I'm like, oh, maybe they did this as an original character for Harley Quinn. No, they're going into the DC mythos. They kind of know their thing, and it's pretty interesting.
And maybe it will continue to improve, just like I hope that the next Suicide Squad movie is an improvement. And I know there are some fans of the first movie, but I wasn't blown away by it. I think they did make some big mistakes, especially not having the Joker to be more integral to the plot, and then also Enchantress was not the right choice of villain either.
Make the Joker the main villain.
Yes, or at least just leave. In fact, I'll say this: the animated Suicide Squad movie, the Assault on Arkham, I think.
Assault on Arkham
is a way better Suicide Squad movie in my opinion. I think it balanced things out so well. It had good selection of characters, and they played off of each other very well. The Joker was integral without like completely stealing the spotlight. You know, he was in it enough, and he actually had some real motivations going on there and everything. Batman was in the mix enough. You know, it balanced things out so well, and it did it all in less time. And I know with an animated movie, people are a little more willing to just roll with the punches and everything without always these long character introductions or whatever. But I think still that shows that there's a lot of potential with Suicide Squad. So hopefully, you know, the Suicide Squad will be an impressive movie. I guess that's still on track to release like mid next year.
Oh,
And
we'll see.
yeah, we'll see with the way things are in the world. We'll see, but I got a lot of hopes for it. Of course, with you know, the change in director and also
James
some
Gunn.
of the casting. Yeah, James Gunn, which it's kind of funny because he's done that movie, but now he's back on the Marvel side. So it's like, is DC going to be able to, like, if this Suicide Squad movie turns out to be great, is DC going to be able to roll with that, you know, and really make something out of it as a follow up, you know, to it? We'll have to wait and see on that. But I know that.
Like there's two different castings at least. So it looks like they actually will be, you know, a Suicide Squad versus, I think, maybe one person got their head blown off from Waller, and then Diablo just said, "I'm going to die for you guys," and that's all the deaths, right? If I'm not mistaken. Slipknot and Diablo.
Yeah, there weren't really many deaths. And Diablo, him saying, I already lost one family, I'm not going to lose another, that was so unearned. You know, that wasn't earned. The characters did not connect like that in the first movie. So hopefully,
absolutely not.
Hopefully there's more character depth in the next movie. And I hope that that Harley Quinn is better utilized as well, because as much as I like Margot Robbie's, you know, interpretation of the character, she needs more depth still. She really did not get that in that first movie, like, at all. And even you could tell where some of the reshoots were, you know, in the first movie. So hopefully we won't have those sorts of issues with that next one. And I still eventually, I don't care if they have to do it as a total separate movie. Like, at some point, I still want to see that Joker Harley Quinn movie where you actually see the relationship, you know, the development of the relationship.
You know, actually, let's we can combine that with the animated series. It actually deals with the Harley Quinn Joker breakup and their relationship from there, because that was the funny thing where they were both coming out at the same time, Birds of Prey and the Harley Quinn animated series, where both of them are dealing with Harley Quinn and the Joker's breakup, but they go in much more drastic routes. Of course, Harley Quinn, the animated series, goes more into the comedy route, but it involves the Joker in there. The Joker is a prominent villain in the series, which they needed to do this with Birds of Prey, and I think that's a big failing with them, and why I think the animated series, maybe it's just that Birds of Prey disappointed me so much that I'm enjoying the animated series much more. That might be a potential.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm saying. I want to see it in live action. Like, I know that it's been done in animation, and like you said, it's being done in animation recently with the new series. I know that it's been done in the comics, because I just read Harleen, which is a Black Label DC series, which was fantastic. It's like the first time I felt like, okay, I kind of see her view now and how she could, you know, fall in love with this crazy man, you know, basically. So that was done really well, but I still want to see it in live action. And I think it's something to where they could still have forward momentum with what's going on with Harley, but, you know, give us the flashbacks. Like, they started to do that with Suicide Squad, and then we didn't get it, and then it ended up on the cutting room floor, you know.
Yep.
So they can do that properly in a future movie, and maybe do it within either a standalone Harley Quinn movie, or maybe with Gotham City Sirens, have it to where you know, there's the flashbacks in there in the mix some way. It could even be done with her possibly developing feelings for Poison Ivy, and yet struggling with that because Joker is still on her mind in some way, and she's thinking back. You know, they can work that out somehow.
They could. Now I need to think, who would I like to see casted as Poison Ivy in this, in the Sirens movie?
Don't automatically think it has to be somebody who's already a redhead.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great young actresses out there, though. Just gotta find somebody that can be sensible and yet very dark at the same time, because that's really what Poison Ivy is like. I actually think Poison Ivy is a great character on the animated series. The new one, I will give them credit for that.
Oh
The
yeah,
scenes
she's
the scenes
fantastic.
that I've seen with her, yeah, she's on point. And I saw the scene where there was a scene with the sirens basically where it was Poison Ivy and then Catwoman was there and they like met at a restaurant or whatever. That was a fantastic scene.
Yeah, because Catwoman is very convincing, and Poison Ivy actually in the series she wants to please Catwoman basically, and Catwoman's like, I don't care, I'm nonchalant, and then robs Poison Ivy blind of her jacket, and she's like, yeah, it looks better on Catwoman anyway.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
You-
but I want to hear from everybody else too that's checking this out, like what they want to see done with Harley Quinn, especially in live action in the future, because I think there is a lot of potential there still. I just don't feel like Margot Robbie has been given that proper script yet. I think they do want to do Gotham City Sirens at some point, so I feel like that's gonna happen. But yeah,
we'll just
I
have
just
to
want to
wait.
know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, and also think about to what potential villain could be in the mix in the future. Definitely not Black Mask, now, but yeah, I'd like to know, like from people in the comments, like what else they want to see with the character, what villains they want to see her go up against, all of that, basically. That is pretty much going to do it, though, for our conversation. Like I've been saying throughout this, I definitely want to hear your responses, things that you think about Harley Quinn, like your favorite pops, also what you want to see done with the character in live action, animation, whatever it may be. Please make sure that you share that in the conversation, down in the comments. We'll have a conversation about that down in the comments. And also, like I said at the beginning, if you have not checked out Robert's channel, please make sure that you do so. Robert, real quick, do you want to let them know what you got going on this summer on your channel?
Yeah, currently right now I'm doing something called My Summer Academia. I'm a huge My Hero fan, and I do this every year, starting since last year, where I do a theme for June, July, and August. This year it's My Hero theme, and I do a huge giveaway, and that's actually going to come out July 13th.
You previously had a kind of a focus on Stranger Things on your channel for a while too, right?
Yeah, that was last year's theme.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, you all make sure that you do check his channel out, especially if you are anime fans and in particular My Hero Academia fans. And I know you do the live streams with the gaming as well. What's the particular game you play right now?
My Hero One's Justice 2. I'm doing that every weekend. I try to do it on Saturdays. However, if my work schedule doesn't work out, I end up doing it Sunday. So I usually try to get at least 1 hour in. The plan is to get to 2 hours and stream that just every weekend during the My Summer Academia.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. And of course on my channel, you all can expect to see a lot more about Harley Quinn because she is one of the main characters that I collect. So you'll be seeing some other Harley Quinn products coming up. I actually got a list of things that I'd like to get that are based upon the character. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for our conversation. If you all enjoyed this, definitely let us know in the comments, and we may come back and do something like this again after a while, because we have been talking about our ideas that basically the way that we would have liked to have handled the DCEU, so that is definitely something we could talk about next time if you all are interested in that. And then there's these rumors also, maybe there'll be some information by the next time if we do this again about what in the world Rockstar Games is working on related to the DC DC universe basically. So maybe that's something we could come back and address, but let us know if you'd like us to do this again. We look forward to reading the comments, of course, and don't forget to check out Robert's channel, and you all take care. We'll talk to you all again real soon.
All right. Bye, guys.